It's showtime.
Hey, welcome to Show Me Some Television, the segment where I get to binge watch television and tell you all about it thanks to the Show Me service from Rogers, which I'm getting for free. Bonus! So, what I'm going to be talking about this time is a show called The Americans, in season 1 specifically, because I haven't seen anything else. Now, I didn't know anything about this show going into it. I had heard really good things about it, and I think it was getting some, I don't know, maybe it was getting awards or something. I don't know where I heard about it. I heard good things about it, and outside of pulling it up on Show Me and reading it, I didn't know really what it was about. Now, as far as, well, I guess the series in general, The Americans refers to two KGB agents posing as Americans in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. They've essentially been raised and trained in Russia to pose as Americans. They are married in America, but technically not married because they are they're posing as a family, right? But they do have 2 kids which were born in the United States. So they have 2 American-raised children, preteen and teenage years of age, it's essentially them doing spy stuff. It stars the male is Matthew Rhys, who was probably before this mostly known for the series Brothers and Sisters, which I'd never watched, but it went on for a few years. Fans of my channel may know him from the film Titus, the Anthony Hopkins film, where I think he played Demetrius was his character, if I'm not mistaken. But you might know him to see him, though you might not. He's not the most prolific of actors, but he is a really good actor. The girl, his wife, is played by Kerry Russell. Now, her you probably would recognize just from seeing. Lately, she was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Dark Skies. She was in Mission Impossible 3, I think it's 3. But she's mostly known as Felicity. The television show Felicity? Well, she's Felicity. So yeah, seeing her, you should definitely, recognize her. And the other main person in this would be, oddly enough, circumstances, just came about that an FBI agent who is on the, portion is like counter espionage or counter or whatever division of the FBI. Essentially, the FBI who deals with trying to find KGB agents in the United States and such, moves in across the street from these, and he's played by Noah Emmerich, who oddly enough, you may recognize him to look at him, but you probably don't remember where from, even though he was in The Truman Show, Warrior, but lately you probably mostly would know him from Super 8, J.J. Abrams' Super 8. I think he plays the Army Colonel in that one. But yeah, it's an interesting show. It has... It's weird in the sense that the season doesn't really have an over... it doesn't have the storyline that goes over the entire season. Each episode is almost a self-contained story, even though, what happens in one episode can affect what happens later on. But you do get, ideas of defection and dealing with, it's a Cold War time, right? So this isn't like taking place in the modern. It takes place in the past during the Cold War, and it's one of those things where neither the Americans nor the Soviets really want to escalate things any further, because they realize if it goes too far, then nuclear bombs are dropping everywhere. Now, of course, you get some people who are, do want to escalate, and some people who don't want to escalate, and so there is that kind of a, push and pull going on within, internally and externally, with regards to the KGB and the FBI and the, politics and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, it's the Cold War, so it's like Reagan. It's all about Reagan right now. And it's interesting because it follows the, the Soviet, the KGB agents, and excuse me, everything that's happening in their life. And there are moments where, things that, if growing up in North America, even though I'm, Canadian, growing up in North America, there's a way we do things, which isn't the way the Russians do things, though, right? And even though these people have been in the United States for so long, for a long period of time, there are things that happen in, the politics and such that, because of the way things are done in Russia, they kind of interpret it a different way than it actually is. They interpret it the way a Russian would interpret it if it was happening in Russia. So there's often things that take place, and it's constantly a struggle. They have to kill other informants and spies, and people may get captured, and people are they're planting bugs and doing surveillance work, and there's a lot of this back and forth. And maybe there's a mole, maybe there isn't a mole. Who's the mole? Is there a mole? Find the mole. A lot of that kind of stuff going on. And then, of course, there's a lot of the family units, right? It's a period of time where divorce is not uncommon, and so people are feeling a little free, right? So divorce and separation is one of those things where it's constantly in play, especially when you have people who are involved in jobs where they're constantly away from the home, right? So there are aspects of the show in everybody's, each group of families involved, be it the FBI agent across the street, the KGB agents, or other people, where there's this idea of the family unit and how it copes, and perhaps the disintegration of the family unit, and how people perceive that. How does it affect the spy world? Do they interact? Is there, it's just a lot of stuff. And there's, it's one of those things where, because you have the KGB agents and you're following them, there's a lot of them working together and using different disguises, and essentially, a lot of sleeping with people to get the information they need, and yet they are in a relationship, but they aren't in a relationship, but they are having feelings for each other. So there's this, turmoil of, partially is you're sleeping with people, but you're in a relationship with me, but we're not really in a relationship, but I still have feelings for you, and you have feelings for me. And then that, just a lot of that conflict between what is their job and their mission, and what are their feelings and their thoughts, and what do they need to do, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of that going along through this first season. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I found myself several times like wanting, to just keep watching. And that is usually the sign of a good television series. Because it could get to the point where I should be going to bed because I got to work in the morning, and I'm like, but I really do want to see what happens next. So that being said, so far as season 1 goes, I would recommend The Americans. It's interesting to see the portrayal of that time period, especially for people who did not grow up during that time period. if you came after that, or if you're much younger, and you only know about the Cold War after the fact, maybe you're not, maybe the Cold War ended by the time you were, really old enough to understand what was going on, type thing. And so this would be an interesting look at that time period and what was going on. And even for people who were during that time period, there's a lot of propaganda and secrecy and all that kind of stuff. So this world here, and this is one of the reasons why I think it was so popular and praised, was it gives you a look into, whether fictional or not, into what was the goings-ons behind the scenes of the politics and the spies and the Russians versus the Americans. And yeah, I don't know how much. I mean, it's nice because they do have stuff from the television, newscasts and all that kind of stuff playing, and radio broadcasts and newspaper articles and such that are, as far as I could tell, are all genuine from that era, and they use those to build the stories around. But I don't know how much of the stories themselves are at all based in fact. It should be something I should look into, see if there is this. Well, see how much of this is real and how much of it is just fictional. I'm guessing most of it's just fictional. They're just using the time period and the real events as a backdrop in order to tell these stories. And so, give something that people can relate to and something that they know and go, oh, I remember that. Maybe it's a specific day. Maybe it's an event in that time period that they lived through and they remember. And it's like, oh, yeah, I remember when that happened. And, you kind of, trigger those nostalgia hormones, right, and get you going and enjoying it a little bit more. So yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's a great show, but it's definitely one that I enjoy watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing season 2, and I think they're up to season 3. Let me just take a look at TV.com here. And season 3, yeah. So it looks like season 3 just ended in 2015. So I've got season 2 on Shomi now, so I can definitely check that out. But hey, hopefully season 3 will come soon, and I'll be able to get all 3 seasons under my belt. But I'm guessing it's probably going to keep going if it's as popular as I think it is. So we'll see. Will Shomi run out before I get to see all of the Americans? Only time will tell. But yeah, so far, season 1 of The Americans, I give it a recommend if you're at all into historical, political, spy, thriller type things. If you like cop shows and such, it's all in those things, are all mixed in there. There's a little bit of something for almost anybody. If you're looking for sci-fi and horror, sorry, it's not your thing. It's not. There's none of that. Though wouldn't be surprised if maybe aliens showed up at one point. No, I don't think so. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you've seen The Americans, or at least season 1, don't give any spoilers for season 2. Actually, don't give any spoilers down below, but comment if you like the show or not down below. Because yeah, I'd like to know who's watching and what you thought. So, till next video, take care. Have a good one.